So I listened to what you all needed and what you told me would be helpful for you as we're working through the last days of our test prep unit. And many of you said, I need help with the paired passage. I need help with the paired passage. So we've learned recently how we can tackle the author most likely, how I can tackle questions that are asking me to match up ideas, how I can answer or tackle the questions that are asking for support. Today, I'm going to show you how you can tackle those questions that are asking you to use both passages at the same time. Okay, we already know that it's just a good test-taking strategy when we have that paired passage, right? When we know in the STAR test, we're going to come across two passages, and we're going to say, use this, looking to the sky, for these questions, right? And then it's going to say, use the Iron Man for these questions. And then it's going to say, use both of them to answer these questions. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we know that it's a smart thing to read the first passage, right? Answer that group of questions. Read the second passage. Answer that group of questions. And then we attack the ones that ask us to use both passages. Guys, there is just too much information to hold in your head to not use some kind of strategy to track your thinking in this type of question, right? You're not only having to figure out what the question asked you, right, but then you're having to answering it for this passage and for this passage. And then now I've got to do something else with that information. Again, all of these strategies are always about making your thinking visible, right? And tracking that thinking. So I'm going to give you just an easy way that you can track your thinking and keep track of it all when you are answering those questions that ask you to use both passages. Okay? It's really simple. So the question is, one way looking to the sky and the Iron Man robot are similar is that they both. Okay, I am going to reword this question for myself so I have a clear understanding of what I'm doing. So these passages are, let's see, these passages both have the following idea. That's what I'm telling myself. Okay, these passages both have the following idea. Now, I'm going to go through and I'm going to ask myself, discuss ideas that have been explored throughout history. So I've made a little T-chart here for looking to the sky and Iron Man robot. Okay, so I ask myself, discuss ideas that have been explored throughout history. Is that happening in looking to the sky? I don't think so, but I just don't think when I answer questions. I go back and I prove them to myself. So I look here at my roadmap, and it does kind of give me a little connection here at the beginning between a historical invention, but that's not what it's all about, because then it goes on to talk about this invention called SmartBird, and that's what it's about. It's not about all the inventions that have been, or ideas that have been explored through history. So I'm going to say no to that first one. Iron Man robot. Iron Man robot, again, I already have road mapped here to the side, and I know that it might talk about something. Actually, it doesn't even talk about anything in the past here. This is just straight up, I'm going to talk to you about Mr. Evolta, right? So I know that's not true. F is not a possibility. Imply that robots will continue to be improved upon in the future. This one right here, again, I go back and I look at what I've annotated in the side, and I don't see anything about them being in the future, but what I do see is an idea around inventions imitate nature. That was the big idea in that first article. So I asked myself, is this true for the first passage? No. Now, in Iron Man Robot, yes, it does talk about things being better in the future. But remember, they're asking me for both. So G is not a possibility because I don't have check marks in both columns. You see how I'm tracking it? All right. Describe inventors who came up with an idea. Oh. I think I may have gotten this wrong. Hold on. Describe inventors who came up with an idea to help their company. Mr. Tomotaka from Japan. Yes, he did it to help his. And Festos. They talked about the company Festo, but that's not correct. They talk about the company, right? And it wasn't about describing. Was it G? Was it G? I think it is. Stress that electronics are common in modern life? No. Okay, folks, I messed up here, which is okay. So I'm going to go back because I know that these are far from being the truth. This one I'm kind of iffy on. But I'm going to go back here because imply that robots will continue to be approved on in the future. I do remember here that they were talking about machines might be able to work for longer periods without needing to be recharged. And here it talks about SmartBird is a good example of science using models in nature to enhance technology, and why not? If the design works in nature, why shouldn't we use it too? So that kind of implies the future. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to write here to the side. I'm going to write my reasoning for this. So in the second article, in Iron Man Robot, it said it, right? It used the word future. But in right here, when I look at this word again, imply, that tells me right there it may or may not be said. When it implies something, that means I'm inferring. So I'm going to write it was inferred. I've got a mess over here. In first passage, in last paragraph, and in the second passage, it states the future. I'm kind of glad that I messed up in that, because do you see, if I would not have kept track of my thinking here, I would have had to go back and do it all over again, right? So the fact that the double passage questions are just too much information to hold, right? They're asking you to come up with big answers to big questions, but doing it 2 times per question. And you will be able to use this strategy most of the time when they ask you how are they different, or how are they the same, or they both have this, or neither one of them have this. You can use this, okay? You can't use it for all, but know that this is something that you can use when they're asking you to compare it, or they are similar. Okay? All right. I'm sure you will find this strategy to be helpful, and I look forward to seeing evidence of your thinking in your test passages.